starting off, you get your Catrice concealer and your C02 brush, and you start mapping out your brows. So you put a bit of concealer on the side of your brush, start mapping out from the front of your eyebrow, map out a straight line following the shape of your eyebrow. Now if you have thin eyebrows and you want them thicker, you should start mapping out a line, I'd say half a centimetre below your eyebrow. That just gives the illusion of a thick eyebrow. And the reason we carve out our eyebrows first is with the concealer is because once we have it carved out, we get concealer afterwards and blend it all over the eyelids just to prep the eyes for eyeshadow. So what I'm doing there is, once the concealer is lined, I obviously want to blend that into my eyelid. So then you begin applying some concealer all over your eyelid. With the same brush now, your C2 brush. And I'm just dabbing it all over my eyelid. And this is basically just to prep the eyeshadow. So then you use your C5 brush just to dab the concealer into place and make sure it's set. That's your eyeshadow prepped. So next what you want to do is get your C12 brush and your Carnival palette out and using shade Basic just to start off. And how I apply my eyeshadow is I just dab it on to my eyelid first, pack up the colour, just dabbing it on. Once I have it dabbed on and I'm happy with the colour, I'll get my brush, place in the outer corner of my eye and start blending in circle motions along my crease, back and forward. That's just building up the colour, and the reason we blend in circle motions is because we want it smoked out and blended out. And by blending in circle motions then it's quicker to blend. So back and forth, you keep on doing that until you're happy with the blending. Until you feel like as though it's completely blended out. So back and forth in small circle motions. You make sure to be holding the end of the brush just because you want it really light-handed and really soft. You don't want it really heavy, the eyeshadow. So when you're happy with the blending, you move on to your second eyeshadow, which is called the shade Slow Burn, and use your C10 brush for that. And as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm dabbing on the eyeshadow onto my eyelid first just to pack on the colour. Blending back and forth. So in along the crease, blend back and forth. Don't worry about the blending just yet. All you're worrying about is packing on the colour. Once you've the colour packed on, then you can get your brush, start in the outer corner, start blending in circle motions along your crease, back and forth. Now with your second shade, never go as high as the first shade. So with your first shade, which was shade Basic, that'll always be further up near your eyebrow than the second shade or the third shade. Then you start blending circle motions back and forth. And to blend out that eyeshadow then, you go back to your very first brush, which was C12, dip into shade Basic and start blending out that second shade eyeshadow. It's just to soften it and blend the two shades together. So light-handed back and forth in circle motions. So onto your third shade, which is called Splendor, you use the same brush again, which is your C10. Pack on the colour onto your eyelid, and once you have that packed onto your eyelid, you start blending back and forth in a line along your crease, just to pack on the colour. And once you have the colour packed on, you start blending in circular motions along your crease. That's just to smoke out the colour and blend the third shade into the second shade. Then you move back onto your C12 brush, which was the very first brush we used. Dip into shade Basic and start blending out the eyeshadow, 3 eyeshadows together. That's just to soften them all. So once you have that done, you get your Catrice concealer, apply some underneath your eyes, and with your C5 brush, you blend it out in circular motions underneath your eye. And around your eyeshadow, if there's any harsh lines, what the concealer does, it just blends it out into your skin and it softens the eyeshadow. It's not really harsh looking. So once you have your concealer done, it's the same steps again with the eyeshadow. You get your C12 brush and your shade Basic and start swiping back and forth underneath your eye with the first shade eyeshadow, blending it up along your outer corner. So moving on then, you get your C13 brush with your shade Slow Burn, and you start blending back and forth underneath your eye, just building up the colour, but holding your brush at an angle, not going as far down as the first eyeshadow. And what I'm doing here is just packing on the colour, just darkening it up. And to soften that out, you get your C12 brush again, holding it at an angle, and using your shade Basic just to blend it all together and soften it out. It's not really harsh looking. So next what you do is you get your C6 brush and you dip it into your light shade highlighter on the palette and you put it along your inner corner. That's just to brighten up your eyes. Then what you do is just apply some mascara onto your top lashes, because we're not going for a real dramatic look. You want some kind of casual but also something kind of slightly glam for day-to-day wear, and then you apply some mascara onto your bottom lashes. So once you have that done, once you're finished with your eyeshadow, you get a wipe, you clean underneath your eyes, because what happens with your eyeshadow, usually it'll run down your face. So always get a wipe for underneath your eyes. That's why you always do your eyes before your foundation. So next what you do is you get your C1 brush and your primer, and you just apply some primer all over your skin. That's just to set your foundation, just to moisturise your face and to set your foundation. By using primer before your foundation, allowing it to set for 5 minutes, it just absorbs into your skin, softens your skin, and you get longer wear with your foundation. It gives you more of a glow. So you just prep that all over your face and make sure to give it 5 minutes before you apply your foundation. Because if you don't give it 5 minutes to set into your skin and you apply foundation straight away, what's going to happen is after a couple of hours your foundation is going to kind of run down your face. It's going to become patchy, it's not going to sit, you won't get long out of your makeup. Next what you're doing is getting your C3 brush and your foundation, you apply some foundation onto your brush and start dabbing it all along your skin to where you want. You just place it on your skin where you want your foundation. And start blending it out. You can blend in circle motions, back and forth, whichever you like. I tend to just usually blend it in circle motions. Now with your foundation, you can always use 2 foundations. That's what I usually do. And with the first one, I'd always go for a lighter shade just as a base, and then I usually darken it up. And I always blend my foundation onto my neck. So you take your time just blending out foundation all along your face. And just blend it along your ears and down towards your neck. So what you're doing after that is you get your concealer, apply some underneath your eye, keeping away from your eyeshadow, and using your C5 brush, just buff it out, really softly, light-handed, still keeping it away from your eyeshadow, slightly bringing the brush up over your eyeshadow, just to kind of soften it out, so it's not looking right harsh looking. And the same the opposite eye. So what you do next is, depending on the person themselves, me personally, what I do first is I use a lighter shade eye foundation, and then I go over it with a darker foundation just to blend into my tan. I just feel as though I get better coverage. Now, everyone is different. If you want more lighter look, one foundation will do. But if you're a person that loves heavy glam, full coverage, I'd advise to use a second foundation, a slightly darker shade. Just making sure it blends into your neck and your skin colour, or your fake tan. So what I do next is, you haven't got it in your kit, but I use a translucent powder, and I use a C7 brush just to set a bit of powder over your foundation. What that does, it helps, it makes it set and stay in place, so your foundation won't budge, and it smoothens out your skin. So next, what you're going to be doing is get your C7 brush and your blush contour palette and start applying some contour to your forehead. That gives an illusion of a smaller forehead. If anyone feels self-conscious of the forehead or anything like that, apply contour to where you feel self-conscious, and it gives an illusion of a smaller forehead. Apply some to my chin and jawline, and that gives an illusion of an oval face shape. And then I apply some to my cheekbones. Usually if you pout it, it makes it easier to apply, because you can see your bone structure then. And just swiping back and forth using the same brush, your C7 brush. I then use a smaller brush, C6 brush, and I apply the contour along my nose. I'm just darkening my contour. So next what I do is, using the same brush, your C7 brush and your blusher, apply that to the apples of your cheeks. That's just to add warmth to your face and your foundation. Give it a bit of a colour. Then what I do is get my highlight. You can either use the highlight in your palette, or you can use the highlight in your brush contour palette, so either your eyeshadow palette or the actual highlight palette. It's all down to you yourself. I apply some highlight onto my nose, just above my lip, my chin, just above my eyebrows, along my cheekbones in circular motions using my C6 brush. That's just to give my face a bit of a glow. I'm just getting my C7 brush and just kind of buffing out my bronzer and blush, just to kind of smoothen it all out. So next, just get a wipe, remove any foundation on your lips, and just trace over my lip shape with my lip pencil. And then get your lipstick and just apply that onto your lips. Lastly, what you're going to do is get your eyebrow kit. Now in your eyebrow kit you have two brushes. One brush that has different ends. One is an angled brush and one is like a spoolie. Use the spoolie to brush out your eyebrows. I've already done beforehand, before I made this video. So you get your palette, you have two sides. One is a gel and one is a powder. Use the gel side with your angled brush. You should already have your eyebrows mapped out from the start with the concealer. So get your angled brush, your the gel powder, the gel side of it, and start tracing out your eyebrows. Start at the bottom and then the top. That's just to trace the outer corner, the above and underneath. And when you have that done, then use the same brush, or you can use your C14 brush in your brush kit. Dip it into the powder part of the eyebrow kit and start filling inside the eyebrow. And just make sure there's no gaps, no spaces or nothing, it's all filled in. And that's your makeup.